Hello everyone, welcome to the weekly webinar where QuickSight customers will learn about new product functionalities, new feature launches, best practice, and tips how to improve their experience and gain technical knowledge from QuickSight solution architects and product management. In today's session, we will talk about new QuickSight feature that will help with export and import of QuickSight assets like dashboard and analysis from one environment to another environment. My name is Anwar Ali. I am a QuickSight solution architect, and along with me, my colleague Shrikant Bharti is also present. He will be moderating the session and help you answering the questions related to the QuickSight. Now, where you will go if you have any questions about QuickSight. So, QuickSight community is a one-stop shop for learning QuickSight. Here, you can get chance to connect with other QuickSight users. You will learn about the announcements, events, and you can also post your questions on the QuickSight community channel and seek help from other experts. This particular webinar is part of the weekly online learning series, which happens on Tuesday 10 a.m. Pacific time and Thursday 10 a.m. Central European time. We also have other events which are listed here. I request you to go to the QuickSight community page and register for the relevant events. If you haven't done so, I suggest you to register for the QuickSight community. You can go to the URL community.amazonquicksite.com and register there with the Amazon login, and you can post the questions and get all other interesting things about QuickSight. So today's session, if you are posting the question, Shrikant Bharti is moderating the Q&A. He will answer all your questions related to today's topic, which is QuickSight export and import APIs. And you can use this particular hashtag QLS export import for posting the questions related to this topic. Today's session will be recorded, and within a week time, you will find it on the QuickSight Learning Series YouTube channel, as well as on the QuickSight community. You will get a recording of today's webinar. So this is the broad agenda for today's session. We will talk about the new APIs, export and import APIs, what we call, it's also called as asset as a bundle APIs. So we'll discuss what it is. Then we'll look at some of the CLI examples, how to use it. And then we will look at some of the benefits and various deployment scenarios in which you will be using it. At the end, we'll go through a brief demo about migrating the assets from one account to another QuickSight account using this new APIs, and we'll explain the migration flow steps in the process. So what are these new APIs, what we call as an export and import APIs or asset as a bundle APIs? So these are the 6 APIs which are launched on 7th June last month, and these APIs will help you to bundle multiple QuickSight assets and migrate them from one account to another account. You can also use it for continuous deployment use case where you can migrate a set of assets from one account to another account. There are 6 APIs. So top 3 APIs are for the export. So in the source account, on the source environment, you can run these APIs and take an export of the QuickSight assets using the first 3 APIs. And in the bottom, what you are seeing is the asset import APIs. These APIs will help you to import the assets what you have exported in the previous step in the target environment. So start asset bundle export API. First, I will talk about it. It's a asynchronous API. You run this particular API in the source environment. You provide the ARNs of the dashboard, analyses, and other assets, and it will take an export in a file which will be having extension .qs. It's a package file, and then you will move this particular .qs package file, which is a JSON representation of all the objects from source environment to target environment, and you run the start asset bundle import command in the target environment. So as this top API, start asset bundle export API and start asset bundle import API is asynchronous API. If you want to check its status, whether it's in the running state, whether it's a successful or failed, you can use the describe asset bundle export job API to check its status. So it can have like a failed status, success status, or it can be in a running state. Same way, to monitor the status of the start asset bundle import API, you will use describe asset bundle import job. And if you want to find histories of the export jobs and import jobs, you can use the later APIs list asset bundle export and list asset bundle import APIs. So it can give you history of these jobs for past 15 days. So this is the command line syntax for running the export API. The top, you can find the export API syntax. So while running start asset bundle export job API, you pass on certain parameters. For example, AWS account ID and asset bundle job ID. So this job ID is used for tracking it later on. And you can pass a list of ARNs, resource ARNs. For example, if you have 5 dashboards to export, you can give the ARNs for those specific dashboards. You can pass it here. You can fetch those ARNs using the list dashboard APIs or list analysis APIs, and you can simply pass it as a parameter to this particular resource ARN command. And for if you are migrating the analysis or dashboards, it might have a dependencies on dataset, data source themes, and you also want to package and take those dependent objects together in a as a JSON artifact in the export file, which is having .qs extension. So you can use include dependencies, include all dependencies parameter in this particular command, and it will take care of exporting the dependencies like dataset, data source, and themes as well. You can use export format, which is typically QuickSight JSON, but it is also compatible. Like you can also use this export with the with the CloudFormation template, and you can use CloudFormation underscore JSON also as a parameter. For checking the status, simply whatever job ID you run, you pass it with the in the describe asset bundle export job command. And while running the import, you will use AWS QuickSight start asset bundle import job. Here, most of the parameters are same, except one important parameter here is like QuickSight override parameter. So in the source environment, if your data source and data set is different, for example, you might be having a use case where you're using a different databases in a dev environment, in your development environment, and you are migrating the assets in the production environment. So your data source need to be changed, or the VPC connections or other attributes need to be changed. So you can use this override parameter to swap the data source parameters like the credentials or the VPC connectivity information. So you can override this environment, these details in the target environment simply by using override parameter. So it's pretty handy. And if you can also use the resource prefix if you want to use a different naming convention for non-prod to prod deployment. Same way, you can monitor the status of the import job by using the start asset bundle import job, describe asset bundle import job API, and you can pass the job ID of your import job here. Now, what are the assets you can migrate by using this API? So you can migrate analysis, dashboards, data source, data sets, themes, and VPC connection. All these will be bundled in the .qs file when you run start asset bundle export job. And for each of the specific analysis or dashboards or data sources, for each of these assets, you will find one specific JSON file in the packaged .qs file, which is generated out of start asset bundle export command. And the user which is running this particular command need to have appropriate permissions, like it needs to have a IAM policies with this information. Now, what are some of the benefits of export and import API? So first thing is it help you to automatically deploy multiple assets at scale. Today also you can do migrations using the template APIs, But this new export and import APIs will help you to bundle multiple assets. The keyword here is multiple. So a group of assets you can migrate from one account to another account. It can even be used for continuous replication use case, continuous deployment use case. If you are having a CI/CD pipeline where in one account or one environment you make the changes, and those changes at a regular interval needs to be replicated to another environment. So using this API, you can build up your CI/CD pipeline and move the assets and deploy it in an automated manner between the environments. The second benefit of using export and import APIs, it helps in easy dependency management. So prior, if you are migrating the assets between the account using the template APIs, you need to be aware about the dependencies. So dependency management, like these new APIs, if you include the dependency parameter while taking the export, it takes care of it, and you don't need to be understanding the quick site asset relationship. These APIs allows you to easily migrate the object and take care of dependencies. For example, for a dashboard, if there are 3 data sets and data sources uh, providing data to this particular dashboard, the definition of those data sources and data sets as well as themes will be compiled together, will be available and packaged in a .qs file, and it takes care of dependencies. Third thing is the easier asset packaging. So if you have a requirement to take a backup of your environment on a regular basis, you can use these APIs and in an easier way, you can take backup of multiple critical assets like your production dashboards together by running this particular APIs, by making a call to this particular APIs, and it helps in easier transportation of multiple assets, backup and restore. It helps you even to check in uh, the assets into a source code file, into a source code repository. For example, if you're using GitHub or Code Commit, you can check in these files which are generated out of by running the export command, and you can even maintain different versions of it. Then if you can, as a part of governance process, you can also track the deployment histories, because this APIs helps you to track down the executions. So you can also track the deployment histories and easily maintain the versioning part of it. Now, some of the deployment scenarios which might be helpful, where this particular APIs may be helpful, is it may be for one-time migration, or it can be for continuous deployment of assets between multiple environments. So when I say environment, there can be a scenario where you have a development account. From there, you may be migrating to UAT, and from there, you may be migrating to production. So you can deploy the assets between multiple environments. You can automate the deployment from non-production to production environment by using these APIs. The second use case is if suppose you have a standard dashboard, but because of the data residency requirement, you can't actually copy data across multiple regions. So you require to have deployed dashboards across multiple regions. It may be standard uniform dashboard, but because of data sovereignty and data residency requirement, you can this APIs helps you to quickly copy the assets like analysis, dashboards, and other dependent objects between different regions in the same account. The third use case may be deployment to multiple accounts in different region. So again, like if you are having a multi-tenant deployment, if suppose you are developing a standard dashboard and it needs to be deployed and pushed across multiple different accounts and multiple different regions, you can also use this particular API. The fourth scenario, maybe, it need not be necessarily between two separate accounts, but within the same account also, if you are having different uh, dashboards, one pointing to the non-production data sources, another pointing to the production data sources. So you maintain like two versions of the dashboard with one non-production, one production, and within the same account as well, you can replicate and deploy the asset migration. Now, Here, in the next part, I will show you a quick demo of deploying the QuickSight assets using these APIs. So programmatically, we will be deploying the assets, and you can see here that like we will be migrating 6 resources from non-production account to the production account. We will be using the Boto 3 Python libraries, which will be calling these APIs. And first thing is there we have an analysis. SAS sales analysis is the name of the analysis, and it is having it is based on one of the data source, which is a PostgreSQL table, and it's a direct query data source. Second, in the same process, like when we run the start asset bundle export and import command, we are also providing information during the export. We are, along with the analysis, we are also exporting a dashboard. There is a car sales dashboard which is having underlying one data source and a data set, and this particular data source definition is based on an S3 files. So what is the step to run this? So first, on the source account, in the source environment, we are having different QuickSight accounts. Source account is separate, and our target account is separate. So use cases like your development account is different, your production account is different. So on the source account, you will run start asset bundle export API, and this is a synchronous API. Once we run this, you will check the status whether this particular export is successful or not. If it is successful, I mean, we'll check the status by using describe asset bundle export job. And if it is successful, we will copy the files from the .qs file which is generated from source account to the target account in an S3 bucket file. In the target account, once these files are copied, we'll run start asset bundle import job, and this particular job will actually read this .qs package file and read the JSON definitions of all the artifacts and import and create these assets are there. You can monitor the status of successful execution by using describe asset bundle import job. So let's dive into the demo. So this is my source account, and here I have the QuickSight dashboards available. This is my car sales dashboard. And this is the analysis what I will be migrating. Now, I mean, you can see this is my source account. In the Firefox browser, I am having my a different environment. So here I don't have any analysis, data source, and data set. What I will do is by using a notebook, I will start calling these APIs. I will make connections to source account and target account and start the migration of the asset. So here you can see that like I'm giving the IDs for my dashboard and analysis, which I showed to you, right? And then I will run the start asset bundle export API to take the export. So let's run this. I will explain you each and every step once we have this run successful. So I've started execution of this script. So what it is doing, it is making connection and it is calling the API start asset bundle export job. This particular, while running this, we are also giving dependency to be true, include all dependency to be true. And as an output, it has generated a pre-signed URL, and you can fetch this particular pre-signed URL and copy the content in an S3 file. So here we are running start asset bundle import job. Once my content is copied in a S3 bucket. So if you notice here, in my non-production environment, I might be having different VPC details. I might be having different credentials and database. My non-production database is different. My production database is different. So I can get this details and pass it on while executing it. I mean, you may not need to give all the details. You can programmatically fetch it from Secret Manager. You can also in QuickSight is also integrate with Secret Manager. You can fetch this, and you can override by using the override parameter. You can override the uh, data source details. You can override the VPC connections. You can override the themes and the object names, like you may be using a different data set name. So these things you can do it. Right now it's running, it's in progress. So let's wait for this particular command to get over. It's in progress. Yeah, so this particular command is successful. Now, if I execute, so my import job is over. I need to change the permissions in my target environment. So I've updated permissions on the analysis and dashboard after this. So let's see whether this asset is created in the target environment once I have run this. So let me refresh this. So in the target environment, you will see in just in 1 minute, just now, it has created this new dashboard, and this analysis is also generated just now. You are able to see that in the target environment, there was no analysis before I run that particular script, and this new analysis is created once I executed the script. So if you notice that it has taken care and imported not only my dashboard and analysis, which I passed it as a parameter, but it has also created the dependent objects like the data sets. So I'm having a Postgres database, SAS sales database, which is powering my analysis, and I'm having a uh, data. I'm having a data set based on the S3. So this is also created. It has further created the data source as well. So if you recall, I had given override parameter, and with that, it has created my S3 bucket data source and the Postgres database connection info as well. So these definitions of data sources is also created. So just now, like both of these objects are created. Now, if you go to the S3 bucket here, you will observe that just now, like a few minutes back, a new file has been created. I have copied this particular file by running the start asset bundle export job. I got this particular file, and if you download and see the information within this particular file, let's see the content of this particular file, what it looks like. So there is an analysis. So this particular definition is exported in an analysis. So this is what the artifact got generated. In a zip file, you will find multiple analyses and dashboards, and all different objects are what we have passed on, and dependent objects like data sets. There are two data sets, two data source, themes, and VPC connection. These all is packaged together. This information is packaged together in different JSON files and exported between the environment. So looking back at the information again from the console, what I did is first I I made two connections, one to source account using the Python library. So I've created one session to my source account, one session to my target account. Thereafter, whatever uh, assets I want to migrate, I had passed I had created the ARNs for it. For example, you can use the list dashboard and list analysis commands. and you can get the information around the analysis. You can programmatically pass that information. I mean, in this particular thing, V resource ARN, I'm passing this particular list of ARNs in my start asset bundle export job. And I'm also giving parameter to include the dependencies. Include dependencies true. That means I'm also taking backup or export of the dependent objects like themes, VPC connections, data source and data set as well. So not only my dashboard and analysis, which I've given here, but the dependent object like data source and data sets are also exported. And then I check the status here. I picked up the signed URL. I downloaded that, but I get that particular content and upload it in an S3 bucket in my target account. Then once my .qs file is uploaded, I had run start asset bundle import command and override the parameter, because in my non-production versus production environment, it might be possible that data source definitions, VPC connection definitions is different. So I used override parameter to replace the configurations in the different environment. And then I monitor the status using describe asset bundle import job. And finally, I change the permissions on the objects like analysis and dashboards and maybe data set and data source as well in a target environment, and you will have access to it. So this was a brief demo introducing you to the new APIs. So here I like to end my session. If you want to know more about the other more details about it, there is a very good blog article also available with this particular thing. You can search automate and accelerate your Amazon QuickSight asset deployment using new APIs. And you can refer to the QuickSight documentation for more detailed usage around this particular APIs. Before we close, I want to also make an announcement around the other sessions coming, which are coming up in the QuickSight Learning Series. So on Wednesday, July 18th, we are coming up with a session on Spice data refresh, and same way in the Central European time also this session is happening. So go to the QuickSight community and register for this particular session. We are going to explain about the new data refresh APIs there. Thank you for your time. I appreciate your time here, and your feedback is valuable to us to improve the experience. Please feel free to share your feedback at the following URL. Thank you.